Ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode, where I hope I am finding you managing your mind. Sounds like a very taxing job, I will tell you, but if you're not managing your mind, then it is my intention that in today's episode I give you just one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. I know a lot of people aren't looking towards transformation. I don't ever run into anybody that says, hey, yeah, I want to transform. I want to transform my entire way of being and doing and having. And I want to do things different and I want to have things. Nobody does that because the brain will practically lock you out. You'll have the blue screen of death if you all of a sudden started talking like that. But it is a very interesting concept because there's so much room for growth and change. And if we're not wanting that growth and change, it is very, very slim to none that you actually will, unless you will change or grow, unless it comes accidental in a big, massive way, which we don't want, like a divorce or your house burns down or your car breaks down or you get fired. Then that forces change. But I love change, but it's very slow. And I'm probably change faster than most people. I wouldn't say most people on the planet, but I might change faster than your average person because I'm in the personal growth department and I just love learning. So for example, this morning, it's the end of the 3-day weekend and it was a pretty good weekend. It was quite emotional at times, as we're trying to find our way and get the kids back to school and, find our way with our business and stuff like that. It was kind of an emotional weekend, but it was a good weekend with a lot of quality time spent and a lot of time spent trying to figure things out. And I woke up this morning early. I went to bed really early last night. I woke up a couple times in the night, but that 3 o'clock time, I don't know, for some reason seems to be getting my attention. So I was awake at 3 and then I fell asleep somewhere in there anyway and woke up again, kind of staring at the ceiling, but I kind of noticed that I wasn't feeling very good. I didn't all of a sudden, I wasn't feeling super happy or anything. And I kind of noticed, by the time, I had helped Brandon get on the bus this morning and kind of almost all of us were up and Brandon's got a very early bus ride. I think he gets on the bus at 5:45. So we were kind of up and chatting and it was okay. And then I had gone back to sleep, after Amy and Cameron left. And when I woke up that second time, I was kind of feeling depressed. And I started to think about, what is it that's happening right now? I analyze a lot of things when my emotions surge. And I analyze a lot of things and I'm like, okay, well, what's happening? What am I thinking that is bringing this emotion up? And as I was laying there and thinking, I was like, I feel like I'm not good enough. My business isn't good enough. I'm not a good enough coach. I'm not a good enough partner. I'm not a good enough parent. Well, in that thinking, of course, you're not going to feel very good about yourself because we believe those thoughts, right? We believe the things that come through our thinking and then create those emotions. So I did an exercise with you guys several podcasts ago that I don't know that I'll remember the name of it, but it has to do with your emotions. And okay, so think this thought, think, and then feel the emotion that you create based on that thought. Okay, now think this thought. And I led you through this exercise, this activity. And in my opinion, it's very powerful because it really opens your eyes to the possibility of the kind of life you could create. When we talk about the vibrational scale from 0 to 10, and it is up to my thinking that can bring me up the scale. And that's where my bigger, larger points of attraction can be, where I can really start to feel the momentum of the life I'm choosing. That's quite powerful. But then as we know, our mind also has a mind of its own, and it kind of goes in all these other directions. So without going too deep into that, I just want to finish this one thought and then I'll get back to the story. But we can force our mind to think of a certain thing and keep coming back to that thing. So I want to think of Harry Potter. And I'm going to continue to think of Harry Potter because I'm going to force that thought, right? Then if I just relax my mind can think thoughts, Like, oh, you're not good enough. Like, oh, remember when you wanted to be an actor? Yeah, you're not good enough to be an actor. Okay, that's my mind doing that, right? And then there's a third thought that can come in that to me is from source energy or intuition or my higher self, that maybe comes in with some inspiration, that comes in with an idea. Like, oh, maybe you should go to acting school. Oh, maybe you know something. I mean, that's a really bad example. And no, I don't want to be an actor, but I do love Harry Potter. But anyway, but now you have these three ways of sort of thinking or thoughts and ideas and stuff that come in through your mind. So keeping that in mind as you have these three avenues, the one main one is that you can be in control of the thoughts that you think, because there's always this my thoughts versus my mind's thoughts of protecting me as this organism that is to keep me alive and to keep me, keep me alive and keep me safe and keep me relaxed and keep me in the comfort zone. And when we have that and we know that this mind in the middle is my mind and I can focus that part of my mind to get me to think a different thought. So in essence, I then in turn feel better. Oh, well, let's think about that for a second. Right now, not right now in this moment, but pretend, I'm lying in bed and I'm feeling depressed. Okay, I don't want to feel depressed. Depression doesn't feel good, but I'm going to analyze for a second, why am I feeling depressed? Oh, well, it's because I'm thinking a thought about how I'm not good enough. Well, that's no good. That's not going to make me feel better. Okay, so now I'm going to think a different thought. And I started to ask myself questions. What else could I think? What else could be true for me? Instead of I'm not good enough, what else could be true? I am a good coach. Matter of fact, I'm a great coach. I'm a great public speaker. I really love my podcast. And just in those questions, my numbers started to go up. Then I asked myself, and this one is really, really important, and this was one of my most valuable questions that I learned in my coaching journey, is to ask yourself, if I wasn't feeling this, whatever the emotion is, in this case, depression, if I wasn't feeling depression, or if I wasn't feeling depressed, what would I be feeling? And the word that came to my mind was fun. Now I've got something that I can play with to help me get up out of this emotion. If I wasn't feeling depressed, I would be feeling or having fun. I would be feeling the emotion of fun. And then I say, what can I do to feel fun? Now, I know that's a weird way to say it, but we know, you guys know what I mean, to feel fun, right? The things just feel fun. There's a sensation. To me, it's playful. It's laughing or giggling. It is this really light emotion, okay? So in these couple of questions, first is identify, what emotion am I feeling? Then it was real quick, why am I feeling this emotion? And in just in that questioning, I'm realizing that it's my own thoughts thinking I'm not good enough. And then I say, okay, could there be another truth? You know what? I really am a good coach. Am I the best coach? Well, I don't know. I'm the best coach that I can be right now, but I'm always growing and changing and learning. I will become better and better and better as I go. But for me, I'm a really good coach. So that truth that I was saying that was making me feel depressed was not my actual truth. So then, what truth is it? What could there be another truth? Yes, and it's this truth. Then I asked myself, that's only two things, right? What is the emotion I'm feeling? Well, actually, that's a couple questions. What is the emotion I'm feeling? Why am I feeling that emotion? Could there be another truth? And then if I wasn't feeling depressed, what would I be feeling? It's quite powerful series of questions. So it's in the series of questions and kind of analyzing that I can now open the doors to a new way of being. Because here's what I could have done, and here's what probably most Americans do. Oh God, I feel terrible today. What a shitty day this is going to be. I'm going to need an extra large coffee. And man, I wish I could quit my job or leave my husband or my wife, or I wish that I could sell my children. Yes, that one's funny. And what we do is we're in this emotional state, and then we try to solve the problem from that emotional state. Not the way I was just questioning, like if I wasn't feeling depressed, I'd be I'm solving the problem, but we're trying to like solve, I don't want to feel depressed, so I'm going to go out into the physical world and try to solve the problem. I'm going to take more medication. I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to find someone to have sex with. I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to drain my brain on some TV or video games or Facebook or something. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z out here in the physical world to solve my problem. It doesn't work. It does not work. Does it give me a little relief to just pull out or put on a Harry Potter movie? Does it give me a little relief to scroll aimlessly and mindlessly on Facebook? Yes. Does it solve the problem? No. But we are fooled into thinking we did solve the problem. But I don't know about you, but at the end of my days, I want to look back at my life and say, I lived a magnificent life. A big, beautiful, bold life. That's what I want to say at the end of my days. I ask you, what do you want? At the end of your days, you're getting ready to go home, and you look back at your life, what are you going to say about it? Because I want you to know that you have a choice. You have a choice in what kind of life you live. And that to me is the most empowering thing, because managing your mind it's the fundamentals of living. Because here's what, I started out depressed. I was probably a 2. And then just in those analyzing questions, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? Could there be another truth? And if I didn't feel this, what would I be feeling? That's introspection, you guys. That's introspection. I went inward instead of I'm going to go have a cup of coffee, or I'm going to go drink a beer, or I'm going to go, I'm going to go shopping and spend a bunch of money and try to solve the problem out there. It's introspection. I went inward. And then immediately with those questions, and I come to the end of, if I wasn't feeling depressed, what would I be feeling? And I said the word fun, and my numbers went up from 2 to 5. In just a few minutes. It was amazing. It was amazing. Then, when I got up, then I had to ask myself, I went a little bit further. Now that I know what I'm trying to create, now I'm trying to get rid of depression. Now I know my goal, my agenda is to move towards fun. Then I asked myself, what can I do right now that would bring me more fun? What could I do right now that would bring me more fun? And you know what I thought of immediately? My podcast. Now my numbers are an 8 or a 9. And you know what I did? I looked back at what I did, the process I just went through, and I plugged my headphones in, I hit record, and now here I am talking to you. Did I plan it? Do I write my script? Dude, you guys, I don't write my scripts. I was listening to a podcast about building a podcast, and the first thing this lady said is spending time writing your scripts out. Like, write what you're going to say. Now, I have a general idea, but I just go. I'm not writing anything. I'm not sitting in front of my computer with typewritten script and now I just read the script on my podcast. This is me speaking to you as if you were sitting right here in my office. And I'm telling you the story about what I did. I'm telling you the story about the success I just had just now. I went from a 2 to a 9 because here I am at a 9. And guess what I'm having? Fun. I'm having fun. My podcast is something that brings me joy. This is what brings me joy. And I hope that this finds you in a place of empowerment, a place where you feel good. And then you can ask yourself these questions. And I'm going to put these questions in the show notes. But I want you to put them on a card, and I would invite you to practice. Do it right now. Because you might not be a 9 right now. You might be a 4. You might be laying in bed right now listening to this podcast going, I hate my life. But I like listening to Jen because she gives me empowering stuff. And I encourage you that when you are feeling this way, you take control. It is not the outside world that is causing us to feel this way. It's not. It seems like it, but it's not. We experience the physical world, but we create it. We create that experience. I know, I'm telling you, that is effed up. That is some holy brain twisted shit that we have to dig ourselves through. I get it. I'm 1,000% in agreement with that statement, how hard that makes our life. We are planted and fully immersed into the physical world. But now wait, you're telling me that I create it? And I go, yeah, you do. Collectively, we create the planet. Collectively, but then individually, we create our experience in the physical world. And it can shift, and it can change, and it can adapt swiftly if we start going inward. Introspection, baby. Introspection. That is the ability to look inward, to analyze. And you don't have to think of that word like analyze. Oh crap, I'm not analyzing anything. But going inward and looking at and asking those questions. And it is in the process of asking those questions that begins the skill of introspection. And it's in that introspection that you start to open up your intuition. You start to open up guidance and support. So what I got today wasn't necessarily, it was a little bit of both, a little bit of guidance, but definitely support. So I'm like, what am I feeling? Depression. I'm like, wow, really? Why am I feeling depressed? Like I should be feeling pretty good. Why am I feeling that way? Well, listen to your thoughts. Oh, I am. I'm sitting here saying I'm not good enough. Well, of course I'd feel that way. Could there be another truth? Yes, I'm a great coach. I'm a great public speaker. I love to bring communities together. I'm good at what I do because I care. That's what makes me so good at what I do. And then if I wasn't feeling depressed, what would I be feeling? Fun. And here I am, all the way up to a 9, feeling the emotion of fun because I asked those simple questions. So I'm going to put those in the show notes. But it's within this introspection that I want you guys to check in to yourselves as often as possible. I'm going to ask you to do it right now. I invite you to just check in. What am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this? Could there be another truth? And if I wasn't feeling blank, I'd be feeling blank. And that gives you a goal. That gives you something to look towards. It gives you, and then you ask more questions. What do I got to do to feel that? If I wasn't feeling depressed, I'd feel fun. What do I got to do to feel fun? This is where we start to become empowered. This is where we start to live from the inside out. Our inside start changing so our outside can shift. I told you, I mentioned this when I was working in a small retail store. This was a few years ago. And it was we had had 7 days of solid rain and dark clouds, and it was miserable. And then here's this day. It's just a Thursday. It's like noon or something. And I'm working at the front of the store. So I can see, the whole front of the store's windows. So I can see the outside. It's just this beautiful, gorgeous day. And it's like 72. It's not 90. It's like sunny and 72. And this lady comes in the store, and of course we're supposed to greet, the customers when they come in. And I say, good morning. I said, how's it going? I said, something about so happy the rain stopped. She goes, yeah, but now it's too hot. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, enjoy your day. And I'm like, stop it. We just had 7 solid days of misery pouring from the sky, right? And now it's this beautiful, sunny day. And this lady is now complaining about it being too hot. So my thought for her is that no matter what the day is, she is misery inside, which then emanates misery to everywhere and everything she touches and everywhere she goes. So I don't want that same thing for you. So start going inward, start looking at what is going on. Check out the questions in the show notes and start asking yourself and watch how your world starts to transform. If you liked this episode and you look forward to future episodes and are really looking for a community to help support you with implementing the tools that we're talking about in this podcast, please consider joining our online sister community called Lady Rising on Facebook, where we focus on that spiritual support and connection, just like in today's episode. I hope you'll join us. Go to Facebook, type in Lady Rising, and tell me you came in through the podcast.